Here is some general information about Guatemala. It was founded on September 15th, 1821, and it has a population of 14 million people, with anywhere from 6,000 to 12,000 people immigrating to the U.S. annually. The main language spoken in Guatemala is Spanish, with about 40 to 60% of the people practicing Roman Catholicism. One annual celebration that many Guatemalans celebrate each year is the Mayan New Year that happens on a different day each year because the Mayan calendar only has 260 days. The people celebrate life and renewal in many sacred sites around the country. Another celebration that Guatemalans celebrate each year is the burning of the devil on December 7th. People take everything burnable like waste paper and household items outside their house and burn them to cleanse their households in preparation for the holy weeks that are coming in December.
Okay, now these are the culture maps. We compared Mexico and the United States because Guatemala wasn't on the site that we were using. But let's look at communicating. For both Mexico and the United States, they're pretty much on opposite sides of the chart. United States has more of a low context, and for Mexico, communication is more lenient to high context. I think this has a lot to do with their communication in general, like in their social beings. Like United States, we're more independent, meaning we don't really describe ourselves and express ourselves to other people, rather than in Latin American countries, we're more open. So now the evaluating chart, we can see that there's indirect negative feedback and direct negative feedback. They're more both either in the middle or towards indirect negative feedback. Now continuing from both Latin American and United States, for persuasion on the charts, it's principles first or applications first. And again, we're more or less leaning towards the same in the applications first. As we can see in Mexico or Latin American countries, persuasion is kind of towards the middle. It's not really lenient towards either one. I think they're kind of just neutral in that, because they could either, depending on the situation, it can go either way. And in the United States, we can see on the chart that we're more applications first. Like there's no in between. For leading, we have egalitarian and hierarchical. And we can see that clearly they're on different sides of the chart. For leading in Latin American countries, it's hierarchical. Probably also because whenever, I guess the house, for example, like the household of a Latin American family is seen higher than everyone else. They're the ones that keep the family moving. They're the ones that provide. They're the ones that they're looked up to. So I think that's why they're rewarded with that leading role. As for United States, I believe they're more egalitarian because everyone is pretty much individual. Everyone's for themselves. There isn't anyone higher than anyone else because now the charts for Mexico and the United States on deciding, we're pretty much on the same level. We have consensual and top-down, and it's pretty clear from the charts that we're pretty much on the same page with that. With trusting, however, we're like on total opposite sides of the chart. We have relationship-based and then we have task-based. In Latin American cultures, it's really important to get to know someone on a personal level, and then judging by how you feel about them personally, you pretty much judge them in how they are 360 degrees, like all the way around. How they are in work, how they are at the house, how they are anywhere. And in the United States, I guess because we're more individualistic, it's more of a task-based. They want to see, well, as Americans, we are more prone to view how you are in the business world, set aside from how you are in your social norms. Now, for both Mexico and the United States, on the disagreeing chart, we're pretty much, I guess, on the same page as well, either towards the middle or towards the avoids confrontation. So we're pretty much on the same page with that. With scheduling, however, there's linear time and flexible time, and we can see that we're on different pages with that aspect. Scheduling for Latin American countries or cultures, we like talking from a personal experience. We like to switch things around last minute. It's also kind of rude in a way, depending on, I guess, family members and their customs. It's sometimes rude to be on time, and being late is on time, so that's good. And in the United States, it's obviously very different. Being punctual is essential, and 5 minutes, if you're not 5 minutes early, you're late.
The category on the Geert-Hofstede scale that Guatemalans would have the most difficulty integrating into U.S. culture is the individualism category, because Guatemalans scored an average of 6 on the scale, while Americans scored an average of 91 on the scale. The category that Guatemalans would have the least difficulty integrating into would be the masculinity category, because both countries have a similar drive, even though Guatemalans have a more feminine perspective on how to pursue a goal. It is closer than any of the other scores on the Geert-Hofstede scale. On the cultural map sliding scale, the most difficulty that Guatemalans would have in integrating into U.S. culture would be trusting, because they are at such opposite ends of the scales, and the U.S. culture bases their trust on task-based or work-based trust, and Guatemalans have a more relationship-based style of building trust with each other. The least difficulty that Guatemalans would have in integrating into U.S. culture is the deciding scale, because both the United States and Guatemala have a top-down hierarchy of making decisions, where the superior of the group or workplace makes the decisions and everyone beneath that person must listen to them.